It's more of a special teams emphasis. Tomorrow's day off, and then we got that 3-day stretch before we go play Tampa. So the plan would be try to get him back and doing some work during those 3 days. Quentin, kind of the same. Again, it's a lower volume day in terms of offense versus defense. Some of those guys give him another day off tomorrow, and then potentially see him back on Tuesday. Trey Wayne's very similar, working back in action this week. He did some individual stuff yesterday. Can continue to do that stuff. Those 2 days off will be good for him. Fred Johnson, Fred's at least another week away. So hopefully sooner rather than later, but at least a week away. And then I miss anybody else there. That was it. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson. Yeah, he'll be back at it on Tuesday.
Coach, is there anything close to the scrimmage? I guess that was it. The scrimmage was that it yesterday? Pretty much getting ready for.
Yeah, there'll be. You can call it a scrimmage. More move the ball. Let's play out the drive. Okay. One of those I think was a 14-play drive. So next week we'd like to do a little bit more of that to get these guys, just in they're in shape, but just that 10 to 14 play in a row shape, before you get into this first game. And it's different. Obviously, we do a lot of special teams leading up to those periods, so it's different kind of conditioning for those guys. But we want to do that as much as possible. So you'll see some more of that on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I mean, it's live except for the ball carrier, right? The quarterback.
Right. I mean, a lot of guys end up on the ground. You can see some of the ball carriers ended up on the ground sometimes. So we do our best just to keep it thud.
The defensive backs, Trey, Ricardo, just they're nothing serious with any of those.
Yeah, Eli and Rico are the two guys. Again, Eli's starting to gradually come back a little bit. He'll probably be a couple more days. Rico will probably be at least a week, and then Trey's. We're starting to slowly work him back in the mix.
Deontay Smith got some reps, obviously, at guard, especially with the ones. What was behind that?
Deontay Smith is a guy we obviously liked. That's why we drafted him in the 4th round. He is physical. He's got the right intangibles. He's a smart football player, and he takes the coaching and makes himself better. So he takes the coaching from a week ago. He takes the coaching from a day ago, and he uses that to become a better player each day. And you reward that. And so he ran in there with the ones and did a great job. There's a couple things he had not done before until yesterday's move the ball period, and he did them well. Not to say it was perfect, but I can guarantee one thing about Deontay, he'll take the mistakes Frank gives him, and he'll correct them today, and he'll be much better today. So really excited about the progress he's making, and just his overall approach has been great to see.
With a guy like that, is it the mental part of it? I mean, with a rookie, you have to make the call, okay, just let him anchor at one spot until he gets comfortable, gets the feel for it. Mentally, if this kid's smart enough where you can move him around, it's not an issue.
I think that's one of the things you're not sure on when you take him necessarily. We knew he was smart. You didn't know how smart. So you wanted him to settle in at tackle. There's just some opportunities with Quentin Spain being out to rotate some other guys in there. He'd been making progress at tackle. Let's throw him in a guard and see how he does, and he did really well. So, again, you just want to find the best 5 guys you can put out there and play them. And if Deontay proves to be one of those guys, let's get him on the field and make it work.
Did he play guard at all in college?
He was last year was a tough season for him just because he COVID. He was a close contact. He had COVID. He had small injuries, and so and I don't know how many games East Carolina played. It wasn't the full batch of them. So he didn't get a chance to get a lot of reps there. So we knew he was a guy with a lot of potential. We obviously liked what we saw on tape. We liked the Senior Bowl. We liked our meetings with him. He did seem smart. I remember my first interaction was at the Senior Bowl during that 18-minute meeting with him where he was really impressive. And one of the things he laid out to you back then was his weight progression and what his goals were for his weight. And I still have my notes. He has hit every single weight progression he gave us for the season, the Senior Bowl, the combine time, reporting for an NFL, reporting for a training camp. Bam, he hit all 5 of them. And so that just tells you he's got that pro mentality where he's got a plan in place. He's going to execute it. I think he was working out with Sam Hubbard and some of those guys during the offseason, and they were really impressed by him. So he's a rookie, but he's got that pro mentality, and that's a great thing to have.
How rare is that for a rookie to have that structure instead of just waiting on the coaches to say, we want you to be here?
It's hard to say if that's just driven by him, those around him. He's got great advice. I'm not certain on that, but I'm really happy that it's worked out that way.
I always see him, too, after practice, walking in with a veteran player.
Yeah.
That's him just getting as much knowledge, soaking as much up as he can. That's pretty impressive.
Why wouldn't you do that? We got great guy. You got a guy like Trey Hopkins who's fought and clawed his way for every rep he's ever gotten in this league, and Riley Reed, first-round pick. Xavier Su'Filio's played a lot of ball. Quentin Spain's played a lot. There's a lot of resources to be had there.
Right.
Jonah's a first-round pick. So, that's what those young guys should be doing.
How long would you like to settle on a line? A week before a game, 2 weeks? Do you have a kind of feel for that?
Well, certainly, I don't have a timeline for that. And these games are going to show us a lot, because, again, we're not on the field coaching them. They got to get through the whole game. They got to be able to make the adjustments. So really, I kind of reserve the right to not speak too much leading up to these games because they'll give us more information, and then we can make better decisions going forward. Like anything, sooner rather than later, obviously, but we're not going to put any game timeline on any of that stuff with the starters.
What kind of attitudes, Zach, are you seeing in front of the offensive line in general? I mean, there's a kind of a cliche term, nastiness.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of successful teams have a nasty offensive line. Do you see that in yours?
Well, we're going to get there, certainly. I think certain guys show it. Other guys are coming along. The biggest thing that Frank is stressing is we do everything together. The chemistry is almost the most important thing with those 5 guys that are going to be playing next to each other. And that has been stressed every single day of camp. We live together. We work out together. We eat together. Everything should be done together on and off the field because then it's going to matter when we're on the field. And so you're seeing that in doses. We're not fully where we need to be yet, but that progress is being made every single day. It's really led by those veteran guys. They're making certain that everyone's clear on how it should be done, and I'm excited about the direction that whole room is going.
Coach, have you given any more thought to playing Joe in preseason, and what kind of steps did you think you took yesterday?
I would just say Joe's not going to play in preseason game 1 for sure. Those are really the decisions that we're making right now. We do have a general idea of how we see it unfolding for all 3 games, but right now the firm decisions have been kind of what we're going to do preseason game 1. He won't play preseason game 1. You had a second part of that?
Yeah, you said, what kind of steps do you think you took yesterday? It looked like you were pretty encouraged.
Yeah, he got up here and spoke, and I thought yesterday the offense as a whole made good progress, and it was good to see us convert some third downs and did some good things up front, the run game, protections, and so I think just overall it's good to have that success for the overall group, I see it every day from Joe. I see the positive things, and it was good. It was good to put together that scoring drive yesterday, and there's a lot of things as a whole we need to correct and improve on very quickly. But what we like is, we had a nice little unit meeting 2 nights ago, after that practice to make sure that we were all on the same page with false starts and errors and all the small things that really hurt ourselves because we had a third down period that, quite frankly, should have been really explosive, and we just weren't. We shot ourselves in the foot. And yesterday I thought the guys responded really well to what we asked them to do yesterday, and they had a nice day. And it was good to see them take that teaching to the field.
That was after Friday. Friday's practice.
What is? Yeah, that was after Friday's practice.
You guys just the offense?
Yeah, just offense unit. Yep.
How was Michael Jordan playing just as a whole?
Just got to be more consistent overall. He's got a lot of ability, and it shows. And so I think he's going to continue to come along. And again, always excited about Mike's potential and the approach. And so again, there's been some really good things that he's put on tape. Just got to keep being consistent with that.
You mentioned Dixon. How long is that list of guys that you already know are not going to play?
Yeah, some of those guys you can get them out there and protect them a little bit differently. If they play running back, receiver. So each guy is going to get some snaps. They'll at least walk on the field, aside from Joe and maybe a couple other guys dealing with injuries. But those are the guys we'll be smart with how we put them out there and just let them get into the groove a little bit.
Is it a little different with less preseason games with the way things like that?
It's different but the same. So in some ways the approach you still want to make sure you're giving plenty of guys an opportunity to showcase what they can do, in a real game situation. And so with some of the veterans that have done that over the years, we don't need to see as much from them. You want them to get out there and loosen up their pads a little bit, get in the huddle, and the lights are on. You get that feeling a little bit. But then you want to see these younger guys who some of the guys are second-year guys that did not get – you look at the backs, for example. That's a great example, the backs. None of them got – Travion Williams has really had a missed opportunity last preseason to showcase what he's about. Jaquez Patrick had a great scrimmage last training camp. That was it. That was the only time. He's great in pads, full-go tackling, and he never got that opportunity to show us that in a preseason game. And then you got the young guy, Chris Evans this year. So the backs will be fun to watch. The linebackers room's got great depth. You get to see those guys show up. So I'm just really excited to watch a lot of those first, second, third-year players who missed a huge opportunity last year to show what they're made of in these preseason games.
Next week is like a work week for 3 days, and then traveling the game.
Right.
But it won't be not game planning. I mean, at every
Right.
stage in the preseason, you're not going to you'll show them what the week is going to look like, but you're not going to be game planning like you do right?
And we're not really to that point yet this week where it's going to follow that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday rhythm. We're still making sure that we got all the fundamentals correct and the techniques correct. And, as Lou was saying, I heard his point. We just want to see the guys do the fundamentals, play fast, block, tackle, catch, all those things that we preach. And then as training camp goes, you can put a little more on their plate schematically and see how they handle that in the game.
How stressful were road games last year, just trying to adhere to all the COVID protocols? And how much are you looking forward to this being more of a normal one?
Yeah. I mean, it took up a lot of your mornings sometimes, with just close contacts and guys being quarantined in hotel rooms. And I can think of the road game against Pittsburgh was a 5-hour morning of who's going to play in this game, and coaches and players. And so we're not fully there yet. We still have a couple, but it is nice that it's not 90 guys. It's now less than 10 for us. So that part is different from last year. Yeah, I'd kind of forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that back up. That was great times last year in Miami and Pittsburgh and all those places.
Back one other guy from yesterday, Marcus Bailey, was that just a plant?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Just heat related. He got a lot of snaps and got a little dehydrated.
I'm sorry, can we assume the guys who haven't been practicing probably aren't going to play? Or is that?
I wouldn't put that in stone yet. There's some guys we'll see how they respond after the day off tomorrow and get a feel for if we want to put them in there or not, or hold them out.
Joe obviously spoke.
Go ahead. You can finish on Bailey.
Yeah. Speaking of Bailey, I think that's the only time I've ever seen him not running when he started off the field. He looked like he had a good camp.
Yeah, he's just a great example of a guy who got minimal reps last preseason. His first time stepping on the field was in games, where he would get maybe just a handful of snaps in some of those games. Now everything has just slowed down for him and Logan and Akeem and all those young linebackers now. You see it's not that they were unexpected last year, but you can just see the trajectory that they're on that we always expected, and that's been really – it's credit to Al Golden too. Al's done a great job with that whole unit. So that's a fun group to watch this preseason so far.
Joe spoke yesterday about getting more and more comfortable with traffic around him in the pocket and then had a good practice. Did you see him specifically look more comfortable with bodies around him yesterday?
I think he's probably most comfortable in a game situation, where it's, all right, finally it's unscripted, we can react to situations, just go out there and play football, as opposed to a whole period being 12 personnel or play actions and runs. And let's set the whole thing up at our disposal and let's go play. And that's where Joe is best. And so you'll see a lot more of that going forward. And so again, nothing unexpected on that end because that's what we expected.
Is there anything that took place in terms of adjustment to protocol because of COVID last year that once you started doing it, it's like, you know what, damn, this is pretty good, and continue, even though you don't have to worry about the protocols? Was there anything that was unearthed and you're doing differently based on what happened last year? Or was it all just such a mess you drop it?
Yeah, I think as it relates to the current team, there are some meetings I'm sure that will be over the course of the season that makes sense to do on Zoom. So I think that's something that's come up occasionally where you got to have a team meeting. You can let the players out earlier in the day, maybe on training camp day, and still have that 7 p.m. team Zoom. That's come up once or twice over the course of the training camp. And you didn't know that stuff really existed to that extent 2 years ago. So now you get a chance to use it. I can think of more draft examples perhaps where you get a chance to talk to more guys from a distance than the team. But I'm sure there's some things I'm not thinking of now at the moment that we naturally have just incorporated into our schedule that I can't think off the top of my head.
Lou had some positive things to say about Josh Tebow. Has he caught your eye?
Yeah, he has. He shows up a lot. He's winning in the run game. He's winning in one-on-one pass rush as well. So it's just good to see him. It's impossible to know how he's going to respond coming off that year. And he's just quietly, as Josh does, he doesn't say much. He goes out there, he executes. It's important to him. You see him during these breaks, just keeping his body right, getting ready for practice. And been really pleased with how Josh has come back and responded and helped us so far. That's been good to see.
How much have you seen Brandon Allen get better over the last year plus?
Well, just kind of like what I said last week was he didn't take any reps until the bye week of last year. And so now he gets a chance to jump back into a system he's comfortable in. He gets a ton of reps, obviously, as you guys have seen. So he's just, when he gets into a rhythm, he's really good. And I think he's really comfortable in what we ask him to do. And those guys have a lot of confidence in him when he's at the helm as well. So, again, that's really what you want from your backup is a guy that gets all these reps that he's getting. In a lot of ways, this has been good for us. For him to get that, feel comfortable. He'll play a lot in the preseason. And then So he'll just always be ready to roll, and that's good. That's always what I expect to see from Brandon.
Is there an opportunity for the other young guys? I mean, have they earned the right to get some opportunities?
They're going to get some opportunities. Brandon's not going to take them all, and so those guys, we're going to get them in the game. They've earned that. They do a great job in the meeting with Pitch and Brian. So they retain the information well. They earn every rep they're going to get. So I'm excited for those guys to get that opportunity, and see what happens when the rush is live, and how well do they extend plays, how well do they play on time, how well do they manage the protections. That'll be fun to watch, Shermer and Dungy execute that kind of stuff. But two guys you're certainly pulling for because their approach is phenomenal. And so I'm excited to see those guys get some opportunities.
How strict are you, Zach, with keeping ones with ones, twos with twos, threes, or do you just interchange them in a game situation?
Well, in these games, there may be some more interchange time. Hey, get this guy out. We've seen enough from him. Good. We don't need him out there too much. Just put another guy in his place. So, here at practice, we try to keep the ones with the ones, and those twos kind of rotate through. When you deal with these injuries, like every team's dealing with right now, the twos and threes, they're all working together at that point. You don't really have enough for three groups. So you'll probably see a little more interchanging once these games actually happen of a couple starters playing with guys that are backups.
When it comes to snaps, do you think Brandon will get more than, like, say, you're stuck with? Think he'll get more?
I can confidently say that Brandon Allen will get more reps than our starting quarterback in the preseason.
Well, I mean,
A normal starting quarterback.
a normal quarterback.
I think you're just going to see the starters play less across the league, at the quarterback position. I really believe that. The guys who maybe aren't rookies, I think that trend these last couple of years, even before last year, has just been down in terms of starting quarterbacks taking a lot of reps. So I think just naturally, and in a lot of ways, when you have a veteran quarterback, that's you always kind of want to see that second guy get a full game, that third guy get a full game, because the third guy usually gets like 4 reps in practice. You never get into a rhythm. The ideal scenario has always been, if it's a guy you're on the verge of making your team, let him go play a game and see how he reacts. And so in a lot of ways, that's good.
With the change that Labor Day weekend's off, and
Yeah.
don't start till the 13th, how does that affect what you do in preseason? Normally, don't play at all in that last preseason. You get the opener the following week.
Yeah.
A week off there. Does it change how you approach maybe
Yeah.
playing starters?
That's we're still having conversations about that, and we got to make sure our team's ready to play, but we want our team to be healthy when we play on September 12th or 13th, whenever that is. It's a Sunday, I know that.
Right.
Again, that's we got some time to sort that out. What is different, obviously, is no games on that Labor Day weekend, so you got those 3 days off. So it really falls into a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday sequencing at that time. So now you got your team set.
Right.
You will have, hey, here's what our routine's going to be. Whereas years past, you always wanted your third game and your fourth game, or your second game and your third game to be a 7-day week, so you could try to show them that. Now it's a little bit more naturally built in with how the NFL set this up, to where we're going to get that the week before our first game, which is a good thing.
All right, thanks, Zach.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.